Hi, my name's Amanda. I'm a coach and a channel, and welcome to a brand new series called The Invitation. Every single week, Spirit and I invite you into an experience with us to question a belief system that you might be carrying. And the reason why I wanted to approach this series this way is because I've come to realize that our belief systems are what create our reality. And without realizing it, what we think determines how we feel both inside of us and the world that we create outside of us. Because what we believe will dictate the choices that we make, what we see as possible for us, what we see as available for us, what we believe our capacity or capability to be. And then that will determine what action we take, what choices we make, which will then determine the outcomes that we experience. So our belief systems become the foundation of everything that we experience, both inside of us and outside of us, inside of this reality. And the only way to experience something different, to feel differently inside of us, and to create a different reality outside of us is to begin to question what we believe to be true. And in opening our eyes to a new way of seeing things, we can both feel differently inside, and it opens us up to moving differently in the world and creating different experiences and outcomes as a result. And today, we're going to be questioning the belief system that spirituality is going to be the thing that saves me. Sometimes, when we discover spirituality without realizing it, we begin depending on it or looking to it to be the thing that's going to rescue us. That spirituality is going to be the way that we access our gifts. It's going to be the way that we find our value. It's going to be the thing that gives our life meaning. It's going to be how we discover our purpose, or it's going to be the vehicle through which we can finally begin to release what we've been holding on to, or to cure our trauma or let go of past pains. And so we begin holding on really tightly to the belief system that spirituality is the answer. And it's going to be the doorway to experiencing ourselves differently. And that without it, maybe we won't be able to in quite the same way. So I want to see what Spirit has to say about this. And I want to see if they can help us shift our awareness around this belief system. Maybe we didn't realize that we were carrying it, and maybe they have a fresh perspective to offer us that will allow us to step into our power and see things a little bit differently. So just give me a sec. I'm going to close my eyes, tune in with them, and see what it is that they would like to share with us today. They're starting strong. They're saying that spirituality in and of itself is a belief system. That spirituality is what we make of it. It's not necessarily like its own objective thing. It is what we perceive it to be. It is how we interact with it. It is what we make of it. And the concept of spirituality is not the thing that allows us to step into our power. It is the belief that we are now allowing ourselves to embody, that we're believing spirituality is offering us, that's giving us, that's offering us a doorway into the version of ourselves that we've been trying to access, because finally we see ourselves differently. And it's not spirituality that is necessarily the thing that's granting it, but because we're seeing it that way, we're allowing it to evoke different belief systems or feelings of ourselves. Spirituality is just a perspective. And the beautiful thing about this perspective is that it allows you to see things differently. It allows you to see that you are bigger and greater than this one experience, than this one reality, than this one day, week, month, moment in time. It allows us to see that we have incredible gifts that we didn't realize were there. It allows us to see that we can have an experience of ourselves that is without the pain or the longing that we carry. And it is not spirituality that is giving us those things. It is not spirituality that is going to be the way that we access them. It is simply allowing us to have the awareness that that possibility is there. And in that way, spirituality grants us the awareness of potential, potential that we didn't know existed. And that is how they want you to begin to look at everything they're saying. Everything has the potential to grant us possibility, but it is up to us to see that that possibility exists. And what spirituality has been able to offer you is the awareness that possibility exists and the wherewithal to desire it and the motivation to move towards it. And they're saying that it is ultimately comes down to that is, are you willing to, one, believe that that potential exists, and two, have the wherewithal and the willingness to go after it. And it is ultimately that that is going to determine how you experience your life, how you experience yourself inside of this world. And spirituality was just one mechanism through which you have allowed yourself to ask those questions and follow through on what you desired to. Spirituality is a reflection of what you believe to be true about you. If you're allowing spirituality to show you what's possible for you, then you are always willing to see it. But if spirituality has been unable to reflect where you're not yet willing to embrace your own sense of personal power, then you are never ready to or willing to in the first place. And it's just not time yet, they're saying. And that's not necessarily something that you need to be upset about or worry about. They're saying everyone comes to their own conclusions when they're ready to. And for some of you, spirituality just happened to be the thing that you allowed to dissuade you from previous belief systems and into new ones. And for other people, it will be something different. And ultimately, it doesn't matter what it is as long as you arrive where you're intending to go. And that is going to be different for everybody as well. They're saying the meaning that you associate with this spiritual perspective is the meaning that you desire to extract from it. You get out of it, just like you get out of any experience, what you allow yourself to. And so, if spirituality allows you to perceive magic, then that is simply an experience that you desire to have. And spirituality is like giving you the pass. It's like, oh, I couldn't believe in this before, but when I allow spirituality to be the thing that makes it feel more possible, then it feels safer to let myself believe in it. And they really want you to begin to question whether or not spirituality is needed in order for you to believe in it. Like, if the concept of spirituality didn't exist, if gods and goddesses and spirit guides and archangels and beings from other planets didn't exist, like if spirituality wasn't a concept that could offer those ideas or perspectives to you, what would be left? What other avenues can you identify that would be just as open to offering you those ideas. And if you can't see it outside of you, if there's like no other belief system or like if there's no other foreseeable way that you could have ever come to the realization that those things are possible, then they're saying that it's time to ask yourself why. Why did you need spirituality to be the thing that gives you permission to want to believe in something? Is the desire to believe in it enough? Can it be enough for you? If you want to believe in your ability to bypass your self doubt, to overcome your limiting beliefs and perceived limitations, if you really want to believe in your capacity to experience wholeness and source consciousness and I am energy, or like your own deepest sense of intuitive knowing, then spirituality can't give that to you either. You give that to you. You're the one that grants that to you. And you have to be willing to believe that that's true in order to access it in the first place. So, is spirituality going to be the thing that does it for you? Or is your belief in you going to be the thing that does it for you? Spirituality becomes an illusion when you allow yourself to see that those things exist with or without it, as long as you believe it in here. Spirituality didn't give you that belief, it gave you permission to choose it. And that is the gift that it ultimately gives you. It's not any of those things, it's just the permission slip that you've been looking for, that for whatever reason, nothing else felt safe enough to choose. Beautiful. What else would you like to say about this? That is ultimately what they want you to leave this conversation with today, is the perspective that it's not spirituality that offers these things to you or takes them from you or facilitates them for you. It is simply your willingness to believe in the possibility of them and your willingness to choose them for yourself that does. Those things become available to you when you choose to believe that they exist and when you choose to believe that they exist for you, that they're possible and accessible for you. And they're saying, so does everything else. Everything becomes possible and real when you choose to make it so. And in that way, spirituality is just one example of how you choose your reality. And it just painted a picture of what that reality could look like. And now it's saying, what else do you want from it? What else can you perceive as available or possible for you? And can you go outside of the spiritual perspective and perceive things that spirituality hasn't been able to show you and perceive them to be possible and available without it? And when that answer becomes yes, then you begin to see that your potential is far and beyond greater than what spirituality can offer you. Spirituality is just a grain of sand, they're saying, in the potential that's available for you. It was literally just a spark that was needed to get your imagination going, to give yourself permission to dream, to see a bigger picture, to see a greater potential. And it's up to you to take that awareness and move forward with it, move forward and beyond spirituality with it, because you've outgrown, they're saying You've outgrown your need for it. You don't need it anymore in the same way you used to. You only need you and what you're willing to believe is true for you. And spirituality has sort of fulfilled its purpose in that way because that's what its purpose was. And now, and now you're ready for more. But they're saying more comes from here now. It's no, it what the outside world can offer you is always going to be a little bit limited because why? Why is it going to be limited? Because there's always like limitations. They're saying because you're projecting your own ideas of what's possible onto it. And there's always going to be some edge that you're going to brush up against. And it's up to you to come back inside and ask yourself, is there more here that this thing isn't giving me? And then your awareness expands even more. And so that becomes a choice. Am I willing to turn inside to find the evidence of what's possible? Or am I going to continue to look for permission that that evidence is okay to believe in? Anything else that you'd like to add to this? They're saying, take this message for what it is, take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't, because ultimately that's what you're doing with everything else. You're taking it if it resonates and you're leaving it if it doesn't. But they want you to begin to question why something resonates and why something doesn't. And if something feels weird and a little bit uncomfortable, that might be a sign for you that there's potential there that you're being asked to see, that you haven't yet been willing to acknowledge. And that's why sometimes it feels uncomfortable, and not necessarily to disregard it and make it mean that it's not for you if it's pushing you to see beyond what you've been willing to see before. And spirituality did do that quite a bit, but now it's time for you to push back against it. Where it pushed you, now it's time for you to push it and see where you can expand into it and beyond it, where you were ready or willing to before. And that is the beauty that you come here to experience, is how far can I push the boundaries of what I believe to be possible? Because ultimately there are none, but it's up to you to perceive, to be willing to question whether or not that's true. And when you begin to really get into a habit of questioning, you begin to see that there are a lot of boundaries inside of spirituality. And are you ready and willing to see it that way? And if the answer is yes, then you might find that you've already outgrown it, or outgrown the perspectives that it was there to offer you in the first place, that you are now can take with you and move up above and beyond from there. Well, okay. Do you feel complete with that? Is there anything, any final words that you'd like to add? They're saying your belief systems are fluid, just like your energy. And you have to be willing to feel the contraction that leads to expansion, because expansion comes from identifying where we have been unwilling to let go of what is no longer allowing us to expand beyond it. And that means coming face to face with the discomfort that we're carrying that has been keeping us in contraction. Can you explain this a little bit more tangibly? They're saying our belief systems are ultimately what determine like how we move, how we show up in the world, what we feel, we believe to be true about ourselves and beyond us. And those belief systems create like invisible barriers for our capacity to expand. And we have to be willing to identify that the barrier is there and question it in order to be able to knock it down. And your ability to do that is what is going to allow you to ultimately expand in the way that you're wanting to. Spirituality is not going to give that to you. You questioning the boundaries of spirituality is going to help facilitate that for you and get you in a practice of doing it. And when you can do it with the thing that you used to be unwilling to question, then you become limitless because there is no unwillingness that's there anymore. There is only willingness. There is only openness. And it is that willingness and openness that facilitates more of the same. Love it. I'm going to I'm going to call it there on that note. Thank you so much for joining us today. I would love to hear your feedback on this episode. This was a topic that surprised me, actually. This was something that came to me in meditation. And when I sat with it, I was like, wow, I didn't even realize that this was a belief system that I used to carry, but I definitely did. And I have outgrown it recently, fairly recently, over the last couple of years. And I am so curious to see how this lands for you. So leave me a comment below, like and subscribe to this channel if you would like to receive more of this content. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week and inviting you into another experience of questioning your beliefs and giving you the opportunity to expand beyond them. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.